everyone, so this patch in Korea, we've got 8 picks that are pretty insane on 8.17. All of them are better with buffs, so actually a lot of these are just like new builds or new keystones or runes that are helping a lot more. We're going to set all of this off today with 2 close to god tier champions right now, Nidalee and Kassadin. So Nidalee isn't really anything that new, right? A lot of people use her. She's really good if you're actually good with the pick, but Dark Harvest Nidalee, now that is a little bit different. You're going to notice that a lot of these changes are actually because of the new Electrocute. There are a lot of different things to runes, but that one really stands out. It's now weaker. It bursts 4 less when you use it, but it has a much lower cooldown. So it's actually a little bit better for constant trades or poking. Now, if you're a jungler, that obviously does not help you at all, right? You're only going to use this when you jump in to gank the one time. So why not turn to Dark Harvest, the scaling burst option? Nidalee right now is one of the best junglers who is opting for this and going for that route. And a big part is also with the Lichbane. You have the burst from Lichbane anyway. Normally, when you auto attack, when you've used a spell, use E on yourself, heal yourself or something, and then get the proc afterwards with the auto attack. But now you actually have Dark Harvest damage on top of that at the same time, and it makes her seriously deadly. Yes, you're going to be doing a little less damage early into the game, but honestly, like you're Nidalee, you're not really going to struggle to kill people that often. A lot of people forget 2 things with Dark Harvest as well. 1, it is adaptive damage, so that means that it will change to magic damage if you're AP. And 2, it has a 20% AP ratio, so all of your items are making it stronger as well. But the last thing, and more for career actually, is Athene's. It is quite popular even in Lichbane builds. It gives decent stats, but it lets you heal better based on the damage that you do, which obviously is very high as Nidalee, so it stacks up really fast, and you end up getting full stacks and a lot more healing out of this. So if we go into Kassadin, I think everybody knew this was kind of coming, but turns out when you keep buffing Kassadin, he turns into a pretty good champion. Right now in Korea, the only phase where he has a negative win rate is before 25 minutes into the game. If it goes longer than that, then more often than not, he is going to win. This patch was the buff to his ultimate cooldown. Now that means that he can get back to lane a little bit faster, he can roam faster as well, which turns into more farm, more gold, more one fights, and more successful roams. That is why it's actually so good. It isn't just that buff actually either. He was given better AP ratios a few patches ago, and then a bigger Q shield a few patches before that. So this is really like 3 patches of buffs and now making him really good. A few important things as well. We are back to double scaling. The game has slowed down enough to go Rod of Ages and Archangels, which is amazing damage and defense if you don't lose before you stack them up together. The best keystone now is also Fleet Footwork. The AP ratio for the heals was buffed, but it is a triple heal page, which is slightly different. We're going to go Fleet Healing, then we go Tenacity actually in there as well below it to avoid some crowd control, but then double healing in Domination. So you've got Fleet Healing, you've got your Taste of Blood, you've also got your Ravenous Healing at the same time. It's really cool, but you can also swap it up and you can go Grasp as your keystone if you want to for a more tanky Kassadin. You stack a ton of health with this. It's very hard to kill you, but you're not going to do quite as much damage, or you're not going to heal for as much, I guess. I think Kassadin is the best mid laner right now, and unless you camp him and set him behind and shut him down in the lane phase, he will turn into a monster with this setup no matter pretty much what happens. As long as the game goes late enough, he is going to be strong. So those 2 are kind of god tier, but now we have Sivir, which is the new AD for this patch, kind of. I gave this a whirl on stream and she actually feels really good. The latest buff was to a Q, taking 2 seconds off the cooldown. That was a few patches ago, which really helps with poking in the lane phase. Also the main way you're going to fight people as well. Crit champions are better at the moment anyway, but weirdly in career at least, Sivir is mostly winning early to mid game and not as hard late, which is what she used to be really good at. It's a bit odd, but Stormrazor is really good on her, and I think it kind of explains it because you've got that burst, you've got your Q burst now, which you can use more often, and if you use Stormrazor with your W active, every single bounce will also crit. So if you just think, even at 1 item now, you can guarantee crit everybody on their team if you bounce to them, which you could never do before, and you would need items to do before. Your ultimate is really good for this meta of whoever engages first probably wins the fight, and she's actually very safe at the same time. I know that seems weird to call Sivir safe, but you stay at the back, you bounce your W, you have your Q range, you have your speed from your ultimate to kite, and a spell shield as well. It's really tough to get on top of her and lock her down. With how much damage is in the game at the moment from every single role, they're all gunning for you, but that's the same on your team, right? You have those around you, and from supports actually as well. Having a more like supporty styles native carry isn't actually a bad thing. Give it a go and see what you think, but the perma push, the poke, the speed to engage, the spell shield to stop engage, like that's really tough to play against, and it makes it really difficult. Top lane Kennen isn't really 100% new. We've had this before in one of these videos actually with the new speed build. It's like Nimbus Cloak, Celerity, Proto Belt, Spellbinder, that sort of style where you burst people really hard, but you're just really fast. What we're talking about today isn't actually that. That actually still works. You can do that if you want to, but I want to talk about the new Electrocute. Remember that we said it's actually better for constant trading or poke and stuff, but junglers can't really use that. Well, you can use it as Kennen. You can auto, you can Q, you can W to proc the stun damage, and that will actually proc Electrocute at the same time. Now, because of the change to Electrocute, you can spark someone like that every 20 or 25 seconds. That is a lot of poke damage over the lane phase. Yes, it does also work really well with your ultimate when you go into finish after the poke, but you can even take Ultimate Hunter so you can use that more often. You've just got a stronger laning trading phase, and that is why it works. Also really good, you can still take Nimbus Cloak and Celerity in your second page, so you're not losing that synergy, which works so well with Kennen. I think Kennen is proper underrated anyway, but the new Electrocute setup like this that we're talking about has a really good win rate, and it makes a lot of sense. You also have an insane late game now as the game carries on after everything they did to his ultimate before. You aren't really losing power. Your ultimate is always going to be good. So you can dominate early with the trading with the new Electrocute, and then you move into a really solid rest of the game afterwards. So the best of both worlds. The next one I want to talk about is actually pretty similar, I think, to what we've just mentioned with Kennen and stuff. So Bard was buffed this patch as well, actually. His ultimate cooldown was lowered a bit so you could try to make more plays. That is really good, and his win rate this patch is the best early game out of any support actually in the game, and that keeps going into a really solid mid game. That makes sense, right? The biggest buff to his ultimate cooldown was at rank 1, and that's obviously early game, but I think it's also that the new Electrocute works even better. So again, you can now stun with 2 auto attacks to proc Electrocute and to trade way more often than you would have been doing it before. Every 20 or 25 seconds, right? Bard can look to do it, and that kind of pressure is really not easy to deal with, especially because he does a lot of damage on his own anyway. When you play him like that, I think this is what makes him a top tier support and one of the best damage choices or lane bullies that we have, because he can constantly use the new Electrocute with his damage and his combo. It's constant pressure, it's more poke as well, which means more chance to kill them after that. More ultimates as well mean more plays at the same time, so it kind of like all adds together. We've had a lot of nerfs to damage runes, remember, but Bard can play around those and kind of abuse them in the new way to make it work even better than before, and that is why he can suddenly become so good. Now, I do say this a lot, but Shaco is one of the best mid to late game junglers in the entire game at the moment after all of his changes, putting more damage into his backstab and his one-shot. Dark Harvest now just adds to that and makes it even scarier, so that is what we're talking about today. He's real close to one-shot potential, and that is like worse when he gets fed. The thing with Dark Harvest is that it is based on the souls, it is based on the base, which is levels, and then 25% AD ratio, but it is also doing physical damage. So mid-game, when people don't have armor, they haven't built that yet, they're still building their core items, like you have lethality from Duskblade and Ghostblade, that arm penetration makes Dark Harvest do even more damage. So if you're getting kills and you're getting ahead in the game, you stack up Dark Harvest quicker, you get more items as well, which gives AD and arm penetration and makes Dark Harvest do even more damage with the AD ratio and the penetration. That is why it can be insane. You're kind of taking exactly what Shaco is good at right now and making him even stronger with Dark Harvest now. It's kind of crazy. It's also a lot of things coming together though. In a patch where Duskblade was just nerfed, remember, Shaco actually has done better out of it, mostly though because of Dark Harvest. The game is also slowing down just a little bit, which allows him to get a few items and start to assassinate people. That is really why you pick him now over anything else nowadays. Echo is one of my favorite champions that I'm not very good at. You know, everyone has one of those picks that they love, but they just don't play very much. Well, this is my one. But anyway, there are 2 cool things to look at. So first up is the new Inspiration pot stuff. We've talked about this a little bit before, but you can start Corrupting Potion with Time Warp Tonic and Inspiration, and increases the healing and damage duration from it, which is really cool, so you can trade and you can heal back afterwards. That's something that a lot of people are using on a bunch of champions, the reason why LeBlanc is so good. But the other part is the new Electrocute. It seems like it's actually a little bit better for him. So if you think about it, Echo plays around his 3-hit passive, right? You proc that, you trade, you rinse and repeat until you can kill somebody. Well, that's kind of exactly what the new Electrocute does as well. Every 20 seconds, you're going to have Electrocute again. So you just go in, you trade, you proc your passive, and you proc Electrocute with it for more damage, and you're pretty much good to go. It basically mirrors what you want to do already, but it adds extra damage to it, I guess, and it seems to be working. You do also have good matchups currently, except Kassadin, so maybe you want to ban him, but AD assassins are getting nerfs all over the place, which makes you a little bit better in comparison. When you stick the 2 of these together, so Corrupting Potion start with Time Warp Tonic and just how powerful that is, and then using Electrocute in the new way, it makes him a lot better and way more successful in 817. Misfortune is kind of the clear top of the role as an AD carry right now. It's nothing new for this patch, but we are seeing something a little bit different that I want to talk about. We're seeing more people go Doran's Ring to start with and then take Comet again. It's kind of weird though because Scorch was just nerfed and Cheap Shot as well, but it's a really good rune page to use and it's so annoying. It's great for the lane phase basically, poke and get a bigger lead. Now the good thing with Scorch is it was nerfed, but the cooldown was reduced. So if you can proc it consistently like Misfortune can, it's not that bad. You can even max your E first for that again if you want to. It does work. I don't, but sometimes Career does. The other thing though is that if you take Dark Harvest, you can go a hybrid lethality crit burst build. Now that sounds a really weird combination, right? But Ghost Spade, Dust Spade, Storm Razor, Rapid Fire Cannon, and Infinity Edge. It will kind of be the best of both worlds. It's very strong in the early game with the lethality and into a very strong late game. Your first auto is going to be applying Dust Spade. It's going to apply Dark Harvest, Storm Razor, Love Tap, and do some true damage from the crit. That's amazing to start with and from range with the Rapid Fire. Your ultimate can also crit, remember, so it's got arm penetration and crit feeding it, making it do more damage, which is amazing on its own. But this build is a good mix of ultimate damage, of burst, and auto damage afterwards altogether. As I said, I think Misfortune is the best AD for solo queue at the moment. If you play her and you want to stomp early, then go for Comet and this poke build. If you want some scaling, try this burst slash crit slash Dark Harvest and auto crit build. I don't know what to call it. It's just really good. It's really fun as well, and it's really powerful early and late. So those are some new picks from Career this patch that you can go and try out. Let me know which is your favorite. Honestly, I love Dark Harvest, so give me some more of that in the game for sure. It doesn't matter who's using it. It's just way more fun. Thank you for watching till the very end of the video, and until tomorrow, I will leave you with the robot.